The monopolist will make fewer monopoly profits. Boo-hoo. We want to keep that marketplace competitive, not let a giant who has an incredible information advantage and a manipulative advantage be able to snuff you out. My view is break those things apart and we will have a much more competitive, robust market in America.
Do you trust these tech companies?
No,
Okay.
I don't. I mean, I like that they are incredibly successful for America, but I don't like that they've been saying, trust us for so long, and we did it.
So some of the 2020 Democrats there certainly amping up the rhetoric when it comes to big tech. We have from Real Clear Politics, Associate Editor A.B. Stoddard joining us now. And, you know, it's funny, A.B., because they obviously rely on Silicon Valley, these Democrats, to raise a lot of money. And it's not only Elizabeth Warren, but Amy Klobuchar and others really going after these companies. Does that affect their fundraising at some point, do you think? Or?
Well, Elizabeth Warren will not be raising money from the big five tech giants, that's for sure. But what she's trying to do is stand out in a field where her polling is very weak with a very bold idea. And we'll see whether or not that is something that takes off with the grassroots of the Democratic Party, among the liberal activist base that she's seeking to energize. I know that this is a bipartisan issue. There are concerns on the Republican side as well. There was some discussion of antitrust issues when Bill Barr was making his way through the confirmation process, the Attorney General, and he was asked about it from Senators Mike Lee and Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri. There are concerns about the monopolization of the marketplace by these companies, but Congress doesn't seem to know exactly what to do about it. So I don't think Elizabeth Warren will be the nominee. I think it's her way of sort of standing out in a huge field when she's not that popular so far, and we'll see if it helps her.
Well, you know, some issues, as you know, are ones that we, you know, you get even bipartisan agreement on, like maybe this is one of them, and people kind of say, yeah, something needs to be done about this. But those aren't always the same issues that kind of resonate with voters and drive people to care about which candidate they vote for or drive them to the polls. Do you get the sense that this going after big tech is that type of an issue?
That's what's so interesting, right, is that you see the candidates in this, as I said, very big field trying to differentiate from each other. Elizabeth Warren is not so electrifying. Bernie Sanders is kind of in her space, or she took his space, but he's polling much better than she is. So we'll see if this is actually something that she thinks will galvanize the sort of left wing of the party. We see in polling, interestingly, early polling out of Iowa, that the primary electorate is really looking for sort of bread and butter Democratic progressive issues these days. Taxation, climate change, beating President Trump, and health care.
Health care was big,
that helps someone like Joe Biden. It doesn't help someone like Elizabeth Warren, who's really talking about the power of the banks, the power of, you know, monopolies in the marketplace, and what it does to stifle competition. So she might be speaking to some energized grassroots part of the primary electorate, but I don't think obviously this is an issue that's rocketed to the top of the priority list for voters in the general electorate of either party.
Well, to your point, some of those issues, and I hit on health care as really being a big one, because I remember all those commercials in the midterms, and one of the reasons I think many of those moderate Democrats won in certain states was because of health care. It almost plays into the story today of the DNC picking Wisconsin, picking the city of Milwaukee to host their convention. I know everybody and their brothers made the same joke, is like, oh, now they finally go to Wisconsin. Maybe Hillary Clinton should have went there the last time around. But it does show that they're paying attention, for better or worse, finally, to this state and this area, right?
Oh, no question. I mean, the Democrats' biggest sort of win, if you will, of the 2018 midterm elections was that they really solidified these wins in Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania, states that gave President Trump by a very slim margin, fewer than 77,000 votes, the presidency 2 years ago. So the fact that they had these sort of non-competitive Senate races, they were victorious in gubernatorial races, makes that really their primary focus for the path in 2020, 270 electoral votes. And that's why you see, I'm not surprised that they picked one of those 3 states to make sure that they are going to energize the Democratic electorate in, using a convention, so close to the general election as a place to place their marker.
Yeah, to go to. A.B., good to see you as always. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks so much.
A.B. Stoddard.